do Vision Esports have any chance of taking at least a game off of Rule 1?
I mean, it's absolutely possible that the scripts could just be absolutely turned on a day like this, because we have seen Vision versus Rule 1 in the past, like you've said, Craftman. They have suffered a really ill fate on 2 occasions now, and they have a chance for redemption right here on the turf.
Well, here we go. Players on the pitch. The game is underway. Vision shooting out of the blue corner, and Mazen's shooting out of that blue corner himself out from the orange side. And getting an early lick in on Vision Esports. This is kind of how we've seen both the semi-finals go. Rule 1 taking complete control and not really giving SMW and the rest of Vision any really route in. This is a very good play. Double commit there by Rule 1 on defense. Mazen's going to have to save that one off the back wall and does well to keep possession.
Yeah, and back the other way is Rule 1 now as they try and assert some of that control you alluded to, Craftman, and through the skies his Kalias. That's a nice touch off to the side by Basil. These two sides at the moment just trying to really get their feet firmly planted on the ground. I've seen maybe 1 or 2 brief mistakes almost from Rule 1, which could have led to something on the end from Vision, but still, we remain goalless.
There's a big week as well in the region, especially for Rawaz. You had Rawaz being the first man to break the streak of Zen in 1v1s. Show his prowess in that field of play, and we know how well Zen has done against most of the world, in fact, against in 1v1 competitions. Excited to see what he brings to Vitality coming next split, but for now we'll focus on the 3v3 game, and I'm surprised Rule 1 don't actually have a goal here yet. They seem to have had a fair amount of control, but Vision's been really annoying for them, just taking the ball away at key situations.
Yeah, definitely so, and I think it's just their spacing on the field right now. They're finding themselves in some really strong positions to actually make it difficult for Rule 1 to break through them, as Kalias is maybe looking to change this as he has some space on the wall to push forwards, but still Vision Esports in a very comfortable position.
That is very comfortable, and keeping it at 0-0 scoreline. All they need is 1 breakaway goal, and they could put the pressure right onto Rule 1. Remember, they need to win this to Rule 1 if they have any chance of making it to San Diego in just a couple of months' time. There's Basil, it's SMW, and picked away by Rawaz, but Senzo is there flying in for the follow-up, and Rule 1 deals with it well. Now down the other end, Rawaz into the middle. Kaliers will come up for this one, and now Rawaz will take a shot at net. No one's in net, but it is wide of the mark. And Rule 1 still looking for that opening goal cycle. You thought they'd be a little bit more clinical than this against the opponent they know so well.
Maybe so, but still, I think for Vision, they're yet to be really, truly tested, as much as Rule 1 were doing some knocking on the door there. They do have another chance with this counter-attack. Rawas down this right-hand side. So much time to consider his options as Senzo throws a challenge. Basil waiting deep here in the blue territory, and Vision, it's been a very impressive start for them, at least from my opinion, and Rule 1 have a lot of work left to do.
A lot of work still to be put in by both squads. Killer shoots from that left-hand side, but couldn't find Rawaz in space. Now SMW hunting this one down in the left-hand corner. And it's a lot of corner plays. There's a big demo, in fact, that actually clears the way. 2 demos clears the path of Vision's defense, but still Rule 1 can't put it away. 1:20 left on the clock here, Psycho. And really, Vision have been the ones, really in the last 30 seconds or so, keeping control. Rule 1 have had a few breakaway chances, but they've been able to make nothing of them.
Yeah, and I did see one little risky challenge from Vision, which could have been a quick response for Rule 1, and it's all about these just individual decisions. Just the simplest of commits could end up fatal for your side, as Senzo down the side of the field can only progress past 1, and Rule 1 straight back on this counter. Basil, yet again, done a good job to see that one away. Some more now up next, and Vision, they're handling themselves very, very strongly in these corners. Kalias, though, he's got something to say about that, but not enough to say.
Nothing strong at all. It's just individual challenges. There's no really team play from Rule 1. You see there Rawaz going off the backboard. In that situation, I would find someone to pass to, but everyone else from Rule 1 was cleared out of the play. Back to get boost, perhaps, refuel for another attack. Last 20 seconds now, maybe the final attack, and it's wide open for Rawaz, but SMW takes it right off the backboard into the corner. It's a 10-second countdown is on. Still no goals in this one, but Vision have a chance here. Basil off the backboard, defended well, right in the middle of the field. All they need to do is really touch this one down, and Vision have a chance to take this in OT, but Rule 1 is going to make the most of this. Basil up to the backboard, still high up in the air. Killers to Rawaz, it's still high up in the air. Nothing has touched the floor as of yet, but it will touch down, and we have overtime in game number 1.
Okay, overtime it is, as things looked a little bit sketchy towards those dying seconds. Vision did still get themselves through to this position here as Rule 1 into the corner. Very comfortable position it has been so far for Vision, but can they just keep on leading the charge when it comes to very much the dominance on the field? Rawaz at his own back lines here. He's got that 100 boost to work with, but Senzo straight back into the corner. Nice challenge there.
Now Mazin for something through. Again, he just hands it off to Clears. Nothing really too solid from Rule 1's attempts on net. And it's been easy saves for Vision. The pressure has been mounting and still sustains to this moment. Killers again. Just leaves that one for Mazin and out of the corner. No boost. Everyone's just wasting their boost on Rule 1. They're leaving everything out there, but the shot to the bar, it comes off and into the corner. SMW waits for a boost and he gets it, but he doesn't make a touch on it. He clears out, and it's the mistake that leads to the goal for Rule 1.
Oh, that is heartbreaking for Vision as Samor and Senzo just eyeing themselves up to throw in that challenge strongly. Neither of them thinking it was potentially their role to do exactly that, and Rule 1 are ultimately your winners for Game 1 in what I think is almost an unlikely result given the standard of the play that we watched Craftman. I thought that Vision were dealing with things comfortably, but like I said, that one mistake can often be what's fatal for your side.
9 saves out of Vision, 3 apiece. And just look at the offense as well. 12 shots from Rule 1, and they only managed to score 1 in overtime. And it comes off of a busted play, not really. I think it was SMW waiting for boost and then just backing out of it. And not really. We'll have a look at it again on the replay here. Yeah, it's just Mazin over the top, but I think that ball comes free after SMW just waits for boost and then doesn't decide to go for the ball. So it's an unfortunate situation there for Vision Esports, but they do lose that one. And that's a really heartbreaking one to lose, knowing that they were competitive throughout the entire 5 minutes and the minute or so that we had in overtime. Oh, it breaks your spirits knowing that you've lost 8 straight games to this team already coming into this.
Make it 9. That is just going to be heartbreak, like you say. That was maybe one of the best chances they will have to take a game against this Rule 1 side, because when the momentum gets pushed into this side's favour, they approach the play with so much confidence, so much volatility, it's almost unfathomable. It's terrifying. And for Vision now, they need to maybe make some small adjustments in terms of gaining back that territory they lost in the second half of that game.
We'll see if they can gain any territory as we enter the Forbidden Temple. Game number 2, and Vision, they'll be licking their wounds after that. They know they can go toe-to-toe with Rule 1. They did it for about 5 minutes straight, but they do need some offense in. There's a lot of offense from Rule 1, and yes, it was controlled well in the first 2.5 minutes or so from Vision, and I think we're going to get a pause here. I think someone has disconnected from the server. I did see a lightning bolt somewhere. Everyone's kind of slowing down. I'm not quite sure what's happening. I think, yeah, we are going to get a pause through. We'll get that all sorted out. But just a word on Vision as well, Psycho. I know you as a coach will probably know team mentality better than I. What is the mentality when you have a game like that where you lose by one little mistake in defense, knowing that you could have easily gotten something out of that game? What's the mentality like? How do you turn that around as a coach?
Well, I think it's either one of two things. If you're sort of, you've got that more, I'm not sure exactly how to phrase it, but you've got a mindset that is driven towards the heavy focus on the analysis of play. That is not going to be a mistake that you particularly worry about so much, because you're more concerned about how that general play is running through. And for the most part, it seemed for Vision, things were comfortable for them. But it was just that tiny little mistake, one that does happen regularly in play in these sorts of high pressure environments. I think it's one of them that they're going to have to push past them, and they do need to transition their headspace to more of an overall strategy of approach against Rule 1. That's where I would lie in this sort of situation.
Well, I'm just looking over at the our feed coming over from the Arabic stream, and I think that lightning bolt was actually one of our colleagues over on that stream joining the joining the server. So he's done a James spot there, but we'll get that all figured out and reset. We should get this one back underway in just a moment. I want to talk about Falcons just for a sec while we have this pause here. Do you think will Falcons be watching this? Or do you think they'll be watching this knowing what they have to do against Cole? They obviously have to win to make San Diego. That game coming up in just after this series against Cola will be for qualification for the major. But obviously they know that if Rule 1 win here and they lose, they could potentially be playing a tiebreaker later on today after the grand final. What do you think is going through the heads of Falcons right now as they sit waiting for their series to start?
I mean, honestly, I think it's going to be all hands on deck for their match against Cola, to be honest with you, because it's not been easy for them in the past when they've run into that side. It's been a lot more difficult on paper than this exact match we have in front of us has been before, but we are underway in this particular game. Rule 1, they did assert some level of dominance in the latter half of that first game, and hopefully for Vision's sake, they can step things up that extra notch.
And here we go again. Everything reset. No casters joining the lobby this time around. So we're all professionals on the field. Oh, yeah. As we get started on Forbidden Temple, good and proper this time. Vision will be looking for some semblance of offense. They had a fair few licks in game number 1 with nothing to show for it. But they want to just get that one breakthrough chance. They want to get that first one on the board. That will give them a lot of confidence. Might come here as Maz is the only one back. SMW a little bit out of position as the ball came across from Senzo, and now they're on the back foot once more. Rawaz beaten out there by Basil. And again, Rule 1 just keeping possession in the middle of the field, keeping this pressure on Vision in a triple commit. Do you call that a triple commit? It's at least a double. I don't think SMW jumped for that, thankfully enough for Vision.
I think it counts as long as there's 3 players who don't have their wheels on the ground. There is a reason for a large amount of concern, but Vision are still holding true at the moment as Senzo's going to collect this one into his own back corner. He's got plenty of support with him behind them, but Vision at the moment, they're not playing too positively in terms of pushing forwards that extra step. All 3 of the blue players you can see yet again just huddled back, just really hoping something's going to push past their own back lines.
Yeah, they're seeing that Rule 1 is playing a very aggressive game. All 3 members of Rule 1 seem to like pushing all together, so they're waiting for that counter-attack by the looks of things. But Rule 1's rotations back have been exquisite. They've been really quickly rotating back into their own half when they've lost possession of the ball. So trying to change something up for Vision, maybe applying a little bit more consistent pressure of their own might do them good. As one comes in from the corner there. SMW try and hunt that one down. Now Basil with 100 points of boost in his tank. Not able to make anything out of that one. And again, Vision's push is just met with staunch defense from Rule 1, and no one taking full advantage of the opportunities they're given at either end of the pitch.
Yeah, not quite yet, but Kalias might have an opportunity here if he can beat out this ball. He's done exactly that. The follow-up, though, is just touched away to the corner by Samora. The very last second there, that was maybe the first strong opportunity we've seen all game long. And as much as Rule 1, they're playing a very controlling game in terms of the possession on the field. Very few opportunities have been coming their way, but this counter-attack, a single player at the back for Vision Esports, that is a terrifying sight.
That was beautiful from, I think it was Rawaz actually, hit it round Senzo. Senzo's diving for that ball, and he sees that coming, pings it off the left-hand side, ricochets back into the middle, and it's an easy walk-in for Row 1. Now Vision have a chance to retaliate, to answer the call now that Row 1 have laid in front of them. They're just losing possession at every stage where they push into this orange half. Again, Killer's so good on those challenges. Basil does back this one up. Zenzo's in the middle, but no boost for Basil to make that pass at a reality. And still nothing coming down for Vision. It's really frustrating to watch, and it must be frustrating to play as well. But they might get that one. A defensive error, and it's 1-1.
It's 1-1, and some more with a strong 50 here. Apparently that was all that was needed, or even a dunk on Roas. And for Rule 1, both players were sort of airborne at that specific instance. Had no idea that that one was coming.
Not a clue. It does give Vision their first goal of the day. Moves us back to a tie game. Basil trying to make something happen in the midfield once more. And now Vision seem to be sprung into life. What did I say? That one goal could turn the tides and give them the confidence to start playing their style of Rocket League. It certainly seems that they have the confidence to go forward. They're just being blocked out by Rule 1 in the midfield at the moment. Basil couldn't make that attempt, that 50-50 attempt on Rawaz work. Now SMW over the top. Here comes Basil, in fact, but well read by Mazen. Gets it back in favour of his team.
Yeah, and this is going to be a crucial touch from Senzo, which he did just about fine there, but straight back into the centre is Rule 1 as they just loop from side to side here. Rawas is going to chip this one high, and he's got some options as well. Tries to do it all by themselves. And Vision, they need to try and break free once again. It's just proving such a difficult task, and that's the worrying thing. When there's maybe 1 or 2 minutes straight of possession for Rule 1, there is every reason to be concerned.
Overtime looming once more as the 30-second klaxon sounds. Killers over to Mazen, but Senzo able to intercept that one and send it Rule 1 bound. Waz, possession for himself in the midfield, and again Vision trying to push. Get this last shot is going to be crucial if they don't want to go to overtime, which they lost in game number 1. SMW, Basil's waiting, but a big punt downfield will allow Senzo to get it right back up for Vision to have one last crack at it, but overtime does reach as the ball hits the ground, and we have our second straight OT.
2 OTs, but will we have the same fate as what occurred in the previous game for Vision's sake? They're going to definitely be hoping not, because that is a mistake. It's very, very rare in these sorts of environments. Rawas drops this one down. 2 commits from Vision, but the ball is cleared in a very spontaneous manner. And Basil, they're over on the other side of the field. They can breathe again.
It was a defensive calamity that cost Vision in game number 1. It was almost an absolute disaster that cost them here in game number 2. But we do play on. Denzo looking for this on the left-hand side, but wow, so quick to this one. Killer's waiting in the middle to find that killing blow. What a pass over to... in fact, it registers as a shot. I thought it was a layup for Mazen, but he has a crack at it from that angle. Dirty, dirty boy. But this one might do it. Right down to Killers, but couldn't get it past the final keeper.
Vision still winning a lot of these trades in the corner, thankfully, so there's plenty of numbers at the back to deal with the threat for now, but this could be a very dangerous one from Mozen, blocked away by Senzo. And Rule 1 just pushing their luck here in the corner, just sticking out as long as humanly possible over on that side of the field. Once again, the counter-attack forwards to the middle, a bump as well. They've been very relaxed, Rule 1, in terms of their commits forwards, and maybe too relaxed to deal with this, but Rawas, he has found his own corner on 100 boost as well.
They're very fortunate that one was nowhere near target. That might have been game over here in Forbidden Temple. So this might be a game over. Rawaz shoots, crossbar out. And Senzo will take this one right back out of the corner. Gladly, he will try and take it upfield, but he's pickpocketed by Rule 1. And now it's one-on-one with Mazen, and SMW, I believe, was the aggressing player at that stage. Vision are just putting up all the stops in defense. Now they just need to turn it into a counter-attack. Basil has a shot. Basil doesn't have the goal. It ricochets out.
What on earth was that reaction from Rule 1 to keep them in the game? I think it might have been a pre-jump or something of the sorts towards that top corner, and Rawas on the counter with another shot. Saved away by Senzo, and Vision still trying to break out of their own territory as the ball drops down dangerously yet again, but still 2 minutes 30 into OT, nothing gives.
Still progressing, both teams having very, very near chances. Still no cigar for either team. Vision really need this. They don't want to go 2-0 down in a series against Rule 1, because that might be game over at that point. Here comes Rawaz. Basil out to the middle. Where's Senzo? He's lining up for that one, but it's off of his car. And Rawaz, what a double touch to finish. 2:55 gone in OT and 2-0 up in the series.
Oh, and that first touch was sublime from Rawas. You just knew he was putting that one in the back of the net as soon as that first touch came through. And I saw a very sneaky player from the blue side of the field grabbing that back boost. And I don't think even if he just took the normal line to net, there was anything they could do in that situation. Rule 1, 2 games up now.
Man alive. Look at the shot count as well. 11 from Rule 1. It did feel like more. It did feel like Rule 1 had the significant upper hand in that game. In a real contrast to game number 1, in fact, where it did seem like Vision had control at the start, then it was Rule 1 just taking all the aggression. Rule 1 had consistent pressure throughout that. Vision dealt with it extremely well. 7 saves for them, 9 saves total in game 1 as well. So that puts them at quick math 16 saves on this series. Yeah, I mean, Vision again, chances to win it there. They've really got to be thinking, man, we're just a little bit off. What needs to change, if anything, for Vision if they want to get a game here?
Yeah, well, I think the ultimate thing that needs to change, at least for Vision for me, is maybe their stance on the field, because typically we're seeing them with 3 players right back in defense trying to just hope some space will free itself up as a result of mainly just an overcommit from Rule 1, and it happened once or twice actually in that game, Craftman, but it didn't actually cause any opportunities, which is what they are surely going to be desperate for right now. So I think maybe extending that first player in their own defense forwards that tiny bit, maybe look for some more passing avenues out of defense, because every time Rule 1 are at the back, they look comfortable. They threw the ball to another player, and job's good. They're back the other direction, so that's what needs to change for me, Craftman.
Yeah, there are times where Rule 1 do seem a little bit shaken and stirred, but it's not all that much. They do seem to be more cool, calm, and collected than Vision seem to be, and obviously it's more on the line for Rule 1. They have to get to the grand final. They have to win it against Cola later on. They have to hope that they don't see their old mortal sworn enemies for life, Team Falcons, show up in the grand final once more. They need to win this regional against Cola if they got any chance of making it to the major. We just had a slight tech issue, our tech pause, but we do have the game live and we are ready to go as Vision need to have this one. Can't go 3-0 down against Rule 1 at all. I did see can't go 2-0 down, but certainly you can't go 3-0 down against them. And I'm surprised, actually. I know we had a slight tech pause there, but I'm surprised we didn't actually have a full timeout from Vision.
Yeah, maybe so. And I think ultimately Vision have been comfortable, which is a really bizarre thing to say given Rule 1 mainly have just been registering a ton more shots than their opposition. But yeah, Vision, I think it's going to be a strategic change which is needed. So maybe, like you said, that timeout would have been useful here, but still I think they're certainly capable and they certainly know what's been going wrong for them so far, as Vision relaxed in their own half yet again. We've seen this time and time again. All 3 blue players just sitting back trying to absorb as much pressure as they can.
2 1-goal games have been the difference in this one. Very unlike their series a few weeks ago in the Winter Cup, where it was 3-1, 3-0, 4-1, and then the final game, well, it was end up being a 4-0 sweep. Rule 1 did win that final game in overtime. Oh, but Senzo looking to take Vision's first lead, just a little bit off target. Tight angle there. Senzo, we know he can hit those shots. SMW can't find the ball for the labyrinth, the path down the labyrinth for the ball to fall through. Ricochets back out. Here comes Senzo on the attack, and they do seem a much more aggressive, revitalized Vision now that they have everything on the line for them right now. As SMW, big save for them as everyone goes kaboom over the field.
And another bump in the midfield as well to disrupt Vision on their charge back forwards as Kalias. Not much boost to his name, but he has found this own back corner. A nice chip middle, and then this shot is surely going to be deadly. It's actually saved away, lays straight down to the bottom of the net, and the keeper, perfect place, perfect time.
The defense for Vision has been near enough unstoppable when they have got those rotations going. Now they just, again, the story has always been, yes, they've been able to defend, but they can't really turn it into a solid enough offense. Nothing really troubling Rule 1 whatsoever. Just happy to let the pressure come and deal with it there and then as everyone just whiffs on the ball. It just matrices around it. Easy for you to say. As Senzo, I think that's a... No, I wouldn't try the fake there if I was him. I know it's easy to say in hindsight, but it was a interesting time to try and fake your opponents out.
Yeah, hindsight is 20/20, but that was a little bit dangerous there, and Vision ultimately have been very low on their game of risk so far, and maybe that's what's keeping this series so close at the moment. This shot could come through from Moz, and he's tried the fake in this last defender in Basil with an absolute mammoth 50-50. The ball rolls just so slowly in front of their own back lines, and the follow-through the direction of Rule 1.
Hilliers just tapping that one down. Everyone was just getting tiny little touches on it, and then Maz would come flying in. Bosh! Big battering ram. They put the ball in the back of the net and give Rule 1 the lead once again. Every first goal has been from them in this series so far. And Vision looking to try and turn the tables here. Basil! Oh my goodness. The quickness of those shots is starting to become a factor. That Rule 1 seem to be reacting just exactly when they need to. Vision just try and increase the tempo here from Psycho, but they can't compete with shots like that and no defense to talk about. 2-0.
And playing a reactionary game is often dangerous, and if you're in Samor's position, how do you react to that? 122 kph straight towards the bottom right. Nothing you can do about that.
But Vision, they just need to start doing something about it because they are teetering on the edge. 2-0 down here in game number 3, and it's starting to become a slim hope that they could be the disruptors for Rule 1. The disruptors in this whole playoff tiebreaker major scenario. Here comes Basil. Again, just trying to get anything, and now I feel Vision are getting to that stage where it's just throw the kitchen sink, throw everything to the wall and see what sticks. And just nothing is sticking for them right now. They're starting to reek of desperation here.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just really not much more than a temporary survival instinct that Vision has going at the moment. They need to try and translate that into, a presence of their own on the field, as this 50-50 could have done that, but Vision have only scored a couple of times so far, one of those being that 50-50. It's not something you can rely upon too strongly as the counter again. We've seen it from Rule 1 once before. The shot comes through to the bottom right. Yet again, Vision on one of their only charges downfield has resulted in misery at the other end.
Yeah, you can't count out killers in that play as well. Just putting themselves in harm's way and disrupting Vision's rotation back. 3-0 now for Rule 1. And they look steady as a rock. They know what's on the line. They know they need to win this one. They need to prove to the rest of the region, not just to Vision, not just to Falcons, but for everyone watching, that they are a threat. They'll have one more game to try and pull off this full suite of Vision for the third time in a row. Is massive. Just trying to score for fun, try to score freestyles. It doesn't matter. 3-0 to Rule 1 and 3-0 to them in the series as well.
Yeah, and as the ball drops, another minute or so of time is going to be allocated the direction of Vision to discuss what on earth they can do to pull themselves back into the series. And I have to say, Craftman, I think that was one of the more optimistically looking games so far for Vision. They were finding a couple of infield passes when they did have some space up in the offensive zones, but Rule 1 have just been ever so quick on the counter. When Vision add that tiny amount of risk, it seems to be going wrong on every single occasion, and that's such a difficult thing to think of when you know maybe that's your only solution.
It is risk versus reward at the end of the day, and up until this game, Vision haven't really been taking all those many risks. As you mentioned, they seem to have been more foregoing in their attack, trying to make something happen. And it just seems that Rule 1 are making them at the point every single time. This is how well-rounded Rule 1 are. They have called a timeout, have Vision. And I mean, you have it. You might as well use it. You've got 4 games to win in a row. So I really don't know what you do if you're Vision other than just talk this out. And I mean, you've seen that you can compete. You've lost 2 games in overtime that have been really close fought battles. That one just seemed blown out the water for them. So I don't know what you need to do to get yourself back into that mental state of saying, look, we were competitive in the first couple of games. That one was an anomaly. Let's move forward and try and reverse sweep this one.
Well, I think that mentality is the only approach that Vision can really side with at the moment, but still there needs to be maybe a strategic change. And when you're seeing a side which is just dominating the field as well as Rule 1 at the moment, just territorially shoving themselves in your opposition's side of the field, for Vision, they need a way to try and break that sort of rotational flow that Rule 1 have going completely out the water. So whether it's those little tiny bumps moving back into their own defensive end, maybe it's extending their first man forwards as a target to aim at when you're coming out of defense. These tiny little strategies could potentially come a long way for Vision. But again, we've seen it a couple times them trying those new sort of approaches to play, and it hasn't worked for them so far, Craftman.
I think just trying to gain some territory as well, because it seems like Rule 1 have dominated the midfield, and it's just like they've extended their own half about a third into the blue half of the field. This is Rule 1's world, and Vision is just currently paying rent in it. They were wanting to have a secure buyout of Rule 1, but Clears is not going to make that easy. 3 seconds in, and it's already a lead.
What have I just witnessed? Sometimes the game is unfair, and whatever that is, he's scooped himself upside down, and he's just got a tiny little touch at the top right of his car. It's 1. I don't believe it.
It's unfortunate for Senzo. He had the right idea. He was away getting boosted, had to rush back to try and stop Killers at the point, but man alive, you've got to feel for him and feel for Vision as well. There's just been L after L placed upon them, and 3 seconds in, another one dealt to them, needing to battle back now. But Rule 1 in prime position, knowing that they need to make the grand final, and hoping and praying that Cola beat Falcons in our second semi-final of the day that will be coming up in just a matter of moments. That was a fairly open net there, and I think everyone from Vision was just clumped in a corner after diving at a ball that really shouldn't have been theirs, but one of them. So very miscommunications, a lot of them coming out of Vision, and another demo. Clears gets it, and Mazin will score 2-0, only a minute gone.
No way did he keep that flip the entire time. That's really insane. Is that what just happened? Yeah, he went to the ceiling, he went on a Sunday drive, he floated down with absolutely nothing in the tank and still scored. 2-0 to Rule 1.
As calm as you like, cool as a cucumber. And Rule 1, they have really been the cream of the crop into this series. Vision have just been along for the ride pretty much. Yes, there's been times where they've maybe had the upper hand, but still nothing solid coming out of them. Here comes Vision just trying to get anything back in this game, try to get a foothold back. But nothing seems to be working, and Rawaz again. The control out of all the players of Rule 1 has just been exceptional, and there's nothing that Vision can do about it. SMW over the top just cannot beat Rawaz in defense.
That was such an important beat for Vision to keep this tempo alive. Maybe another shooting charge for Basil. He has put in 1. Vision, the hope maybe is, well, dwindling, but still alive as Senzo over to the backboard found that space, and Rule 1 couldn't figure a way to get up for that.
Well, finally, they have a goal back. First one since game number 2. Only their second goal is in this series cycle. And it's going to be instantly answered back from Killers. The man who scores within 3 seconds, I think that must have been within 3 seconds of kickoff this time as well.
Yeah, I think if we did some number crunching and we deducted the amount of time that took, I think it was about 3. That's how quick it was for Rule 1.
I wasn't paying attention to the clock, to be honest.
Neither was I, but it felt that way. It was pretty quick. I think that has to be said. And Basil, maybe with a quick response, a great save from Rule 1, as Vision still keeping this rotation going at the moment. Maybe an overstep from Basil could fade this all away, though that hard work as Kalia's central. Nice beat on one. Vision, yet again, a chance to maybe push downfield here. Basil straight over to the backboard. A good touch. A follow from Senzo, but Rule 1 still beating them to the punch.
That they are. They just seem on a different plane right now, or Rule 1. Even when Basil bumps Rawaz gets a decent touch. It is into the hands of Vision, but everything's just going Rule 1's way. Here comes Rawaz. Killer's looking for the hat trick to maybe put this one away. Well, will not happen at this juncture, but here comes Mazin. Drops it down off the backboard. Basil, Killer, 3 for him, 4 for Rule 1.
And Rule 1 surely now have booked their way through to that grand finals and keeps their hope alive when it comes to that potential tiebreaker outcome. They may have done their job now, but still a lot of nerves for future and a lot of waiting to come for Rule 1.
They've still got to see out the last 2 minutes of this game. They can't put their controllers down just yet, but they can somewhat take their foot off the gas pedal. They've done all the work. They know Vision have not been able to respond throughout this entire series. No reason to suspect that they'll be able to respond this time, but they're going to give it their damn best go. Denzo leaves it for Basil, looking for that top right corner, but again, just a little bit off target. Open net, and again, Rule 1 just seem to be every single place on this field that Vision do not want them to be.
Yeah, their recoveries are just so frightening, Rule 1. They find themselves in a tiny bit of a tight spot, and then through individual class alone, seemingly, they just manage to deal with it as simply as that. And Vision, on a breakthrough exit from this defense, is still struggling to connect and really forge a way to get downfield. Senzo up to the skies, 30 boost for a flip reset, maybe to flick it past one, and Basil has crunched his way through with that challenge, goes underneath, and something that caught Rule 1 finally off guard.
Exceptionally well played by Senzo, and everyone's obviously looking at the shiny object in the sky. Senzo's the jingling keys in front of the cat, distracting everyone, and then Basil comes through, batters the ball home. Gives Vision a little bit of hope here in game number 4. Still a long way to go if they've got any chance of continuing this series. A minute to find 2, and then overtime to come. Basil on that right-hand side was waiting for the pass from Senzo, but no boost in his tank, and all the flips used, and he flips himself underneath the ball and right back into the possession of Rule 1. Really, this next 45 seconds, if Vision want to win, they need to hold on to it for the entire length.
They really do, and at the moment it's looking out of their hands at the moment, as that's a nice touch from Senzo downfield. No blue players there to follow through Kalias. Up to the skies, beaten out by 1, and Vision on their press forwards now. It's looking less and less likely as the seconds go by. Rule 1 with another interception in that midfield zone and into the corner. Vision afforded maybe one more chance to get up and throw one mid, but no boost in the tank.
And no time really left on the clock. I know we saw a 2-goal comeback within a second earlier on in the playoff bracket with Twisted Minds and Cola, but I don't think that's going to happen here. Vision have lost this one, and Rule 1 have secured step number 1 to punch their ticket to San Diego. All they need to do is be the biggest fans of Cola in the world. And that's the words I never thought I'd say on an RLCS broadcast, yet here we are, Psycho.
Here we are. The situations playing themselves out in a way like this is something which leads to so much entertainment, because we have no idea how it's going to go. And if you do put yourself in the shoes of the players here today in Rule 1's position, it's going to be a nerve-wracking potential odd 60 minutes to wait for them before that grand final matchup. But Rule 1, like you said, Craftman, they've done that first big important step, and they did it in style as well.
Yeah, there was times where you thought Vision might have had the upper hand, and it was swinging back and forth, but Rule 1, solid in their attack, solid in their defense, and just kept possession of the ball in the midfield. This is a really scary team to face, no matter who you are, whether you're Cola, whether you're Falcons, whether you're anyone in the MENA region. This is a mighty team to go against, and whoever it happens to be in the grand final. Obviously, even if Falcons do make it to the final, Rule 1 still want to get a regional under the belt, and obviously every point counts when it comes to Worlds qualification later down the line.
Yeah, and I think it's very easy to just sort of glimpse past that and just think about what's happening here in the present. But there's so much on the line in future as well in terms of that position, Craftman, like you said. And Rule 1, I believe this is now something absolutely ludicrous in terms of their record against Vision. I think it's now 12 games on the trot or something absolutely ludicrous. And that is going to be heartbreaking for Vision, but still one of these teams that has emerged in the MENA region, shown their strengths, and there's still plenty left to come from this side, I believe, Craftman.
And there's plenty still to come on our stream right here. Keep it right here. It is the big one. This next game will decide potentially who is going to the San Diego Major from the MENA region. If Falcons win, it's them. If it's Cola, who the hell knows? Stick around after the break. We'll be right back.